Hey, it's Brian Burns. Welcome to this episode of the B2B Revenue Leadership Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how do you do a startup? How do you go from scratch and, get some investors and build a product out that that there's a market for because you needed it. You were scratching your own itch. But here's a little angle on it. You're in Poland. Imagine the issues there that you have with geography, language, investment money, trying to break into, the U.S. market and other markets. And how do you go about doing that? And with a whole new idea about, automating emails and making it connect up with emails and being able to build sequences for salespeople and marketing people and to make it look natural and feel natural, but to automate it so people don't have to write them all by hand, and also have it not be spammy as well. So we got Matt. Matt's joining the show. I've been using his product from Woodpecker for a couple of years now. He's a great guy. I love talking to him. Great company. The product does work. It's fantastic. I got to tell you, I'm a raving fan of it and use it every day. As a way of connecting up with my audience and getting guests on the show, as far as, being able to keep my sequences going without, doing all that typing and everything. So that's going to check it out. Woodpecker is a great tool. We're going to talk about get into it with Matt about all those issues, as well as make sure you're checking out b2brevenue.com for your free book on how companies buy, as well as Discover.org. Discover.org is where you get all the data, nice clean emails, so you don't have to go hunting down your emails and checking them. They do it all for you. Org charts, social activities, everything you need to know to talk about them. Then you use Nudge as your account-based selling approach that automates that for you. Yeah, I'm bringing all this automation for you. Come on, here we go. Let's get into it with Matt, and at the end, I'll give you an update on the courses. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us today. As a way of getting started, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Matt Tarczynski. I'm CEO and co-founder at Woodpecker. Woodpecker is a software as a service company. And we try to help salespeople to save some time with their emails and follow-ups. And I have 13 plus years of experience in B2B sales. And as a CEO, I have to sell almost every day something to someone. So maybe I'm not working every day with clients, but from time to time I have, and I like to do this. And I used to run a software company for 5 years, so where we were selling to clients from 40 countries. And now at Woodpecker, we have 1,700 clients from 55 countries, and we grow 12% month to month. And we're a 2.5-year-old company.
Wow, that's pretty
that's
exciting.
Basically.
Hey, how'd you come up with the name?
Yeah. Oh, it was quite interesting and maybe not that long process, but I was talking to many people about, what they think about this following up process and the first thoughts they have. And then I asked my friend who's really good in this kind of, word playing. And one of his propositions was Woodpecker, and I thought, wow, it's something I was looking for. I really like this, animal-based brands, let's say.
Yeah.
And then being like knocking and being like a woodpecker, or sometimes nowadays I think you have to, of course, follow up and remind about your series of calls. Of course, you have to be very gentle and do it wisely. But still, I think that Woodpecker, with his small knocks, can build really good home for himself. So that's why I think that Woodpecker was a good name for us.
And what's your background? Is it engineering or you're a business major?
I'm a business and marketing guy, and I know a bit about coding because I had to learn a bit. But generally, I'm a product owner and a marketing guy. at Woodpecker.
And did you guys bootstrap? Or you
No. I used to build bootstrap companies before Woodpecker. Woodpecker is the first company where I decided to invite investor because I realized that the software as a service business, it's a bit different business model. So we needed like 9 months before we were able to sell something to people. So it wasn't that easy to build this from scratch without, for example, services.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do two things at the same time. So that's why. But we had only a seed round, and now we are after break even, we're cash flow positive, and so we are growing like organically.
Yeah, I mean, I've known about you guys almost 2 years now, hasn't it, since we started talking?
Yeah. It's something like this, around 2 years.
And, I was kind of surprised because most things that you try and integrate with email don't go very well.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. You get a bunch of error messages you don't understand, and you're like, how does this work? Yeah. But I have just the opposite background as you. I started as an engineer and then moved into sales and marketing.
Okay, sure. I know what you mean. Yeah, I was inspired by Rework, the book written by Jason Fried from Basecamp.
Yep.
And this less is more idea. So I have really great, brilliant technical co-founder. And we decided to spend a lot of time like trying to figure out how to make for example, email connection process as smooth as possible for the user, and try to guess in the background many things. So that's why, for example, we have less features than our competitors, but we try to release features that we feel that are well done. I know that we have a lot of stuff to do and to add and to improve, but it's a work in progress, I think, all the time in this kind of industry.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it immediately, that the user interface was so clean. Everything you had worked. It was intuitive. I could pick it up very quickly. And
thank you.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Thank you.
But let's dive into one of your blog posts that I really found interesting about finding your ideal customer profile. Now, this is something that everybody struggles with. How did you come up with this? What was your motivation for it? What was the driver behind it?
It's a very interesting and very important topic for us here at Woodpecker. For example, Kathy, head of marketing at Woodpecker and creator of our blog, is let's say an evangelist of this concept of ideal customer profile. And we spent a lot of time trying to figure out and dive deeper and understand who our ideal customer is. And what was the main trigger I decided to build a company around this concept is that I heard about this many times. I think that many people talk about this, but it's really difficult to do this, in a daily basis, and not to focus on customers who would like to, you to do some different product, or who are not really good fit but want to pay you a lot of money. It's very difficult to do when you have team and when you're working with investors and all the environment. So we've managed to convince people inside our company that it's much easier to have 5 clients who we can help in the long term than to have like 50 clients who will churn after 1 or 2 months. So from my point of view, it was the most difficult part to help people, all people inside company, not only sales guys, but also, for example, programmers or support people, to understand that in a subscription-based model, it's crucial to understand who we can help the most, like the company profile, use case, and let's say lifetime value for us. And the story is quite funny because when people ask me about our best customer, what are the profiles, I always my answer is, yeah, we're working and we are looking for it, and we of course have personas and profiles, but I see that it's like in the move all the time. Like we're all the time trying to understand and figure out the mindset of our buyer, like who he is, like what is he going to achieve with our software. It's not just the basic, like, small and medium companies from States that are selling software services. Like, for me, it's not enough. So that's why we spend quite a lot of time analyzing data, but also talking to our clients. Like sometimes even it's not very structured, and we try to combine all this quantitative and qualitative data together and keep up to date the personas we have to focus on, because as I told you, we have like 1,700 customers now, but we acquire around 200 customers per month. We of course have some churn and some returning customers, but during a quarter, we have a lot of new customers and a lot of things is going on. So we have to constantly figure out who our best customer is.
And I think this is something that's, everyone talks about it, and I think everyone thinks they've got it. But there, certainly from a CEO standpoint, it's critical, because you have, especially when you have investors. Because I've sat through board meetings where, the CEO wants to go one direction. They were a services company, wants to become a product company. And I look around and I go, anybody in here have any experience building a product? Nobody. And then you have the inverse, where you have, companies like yourself that could take on 100 new features to grow into a different market. But if you aren't providing those features at work, support gets killed, and if churn goes up, that 1 month of a customer, isn't really profitable because it's a support nightmare. That there's all these things that go into it.
Yeah, exactly, and it's. It sounds very, clear and logic when we talk, but it's so difficult to do it in practice and to convince sometimes, the people who we hire are, it is their first job. Or we have people who, we are based in Poland, in Europe, so we don't have many experience. People who, for example, were selling software as a service internationally products during the last 5 years. We have to, build a team very often from scratch. So it's the people who is not, when you don't have experience in this kind of product companies, the first thing you think, we have to build something for everybody,
right? Because
it will be much easier to sell, and it's so untrue that But I see that many people think all the time this way, and also very often people who says yes, we know we have an ideal customer profile, but in practice they don't work with it. They have something like this, and it's deep in the closet, and they don't use it.
And that's it, because engineers want to build what they want to build, not what the market wants. Marketing wants to increase their portfolio so that they increase their career opportunities. Investors want, a return on their money.
Yes, exactly.
and then you get the CEO who's kind of in the middle. And I think you need to have a balance of, what can we build in the amount of time that we have that will, keep our current customers happy and expand into new ones. What was the process you went through to come up with this?
Mm-hmm. I think that the beginning of Woodpecker is quite interesting because we were building something else. We were building a CRM for personal trainers from States, and it wasn't really good project and really good idea. we managed to acquire some first customers, but I realized that lifetime value is too low, and then we decided to pivot to Woodpecker. But during the process, we had to do some outbound campaigns. We had to, write cold emails and follow-ups to these personal trainers. At the beginning, we were inviting them for a beta test and then to trials and so on. And when I realized that this project is not going to work, I said to the team, guys, we should change what we are doing, and we should build a new product around the sales automation software we have here. So we were the first client of Woodpecker and the first user, and we were our own personas at the early stage. We also have some image in our heads who will be our best clients, and I thought that there will be senior sales guys from medium companies and with 5+ sales teams. But after 1 or 2 months, we realized that we talk only to small and medium companies, and very often our users are founders or co-founders or just sales guys with 2 or 3 people in sales teams. And we realized that we have to focus on totally different market than we thought at the total beginning. So before the product was ready to sell, we managed to have like at least 100 conversations with people who were already using some alternative softwares, or who we thought that might be our ideal customers. So I decided to hire 2 sales guys where we were in before private beta stage, because I thought that if they will be able to ask people to get people for a 20-minute Skype call, it's a good sign. If not, they are not going to sell software, because very often the first step.
And what is your go-to-market strategy now, as far as like marketing and sales?
Yeah, we don't have too expensive product. It's like $40 or $50 per month per seat. So we use some outbound techniques to get new clients, but the majority of our trials are from inbound marketing now. When we started, the outbound was working really great for us to get a beta testers, to get a new clients, and I wasn't looking at the lifetime value and effort we have to spend to get new clients, but we were working all the time on the content to give some value to our users and readers. And after 1.5 years, the inbound sales, the inbound flow of leads started to grow really fast, and this was the time when we decided to focus on converting these trials to our clients, to help to onboard, to help to understand the software to the new users. And now the blog and the content marketing is one of our biggest inbound flows. And we try to focus the content on our blog around cold emails, around working with clients on the early stage, and I see that it works for us quite well.
And so where do you share that content? I mean, especially when you're a startup, 2.5 years old, building a blog is a lot of work.
Yeah, that's true. I know what you mean. I think that I'm okay. I'm in a let's say startup industry, and I should, but I think I'm quite old school in a way. I think because when we started the blog, we decided to put unique piece of content every Thursday, and that's it. It was like giving the value. We even didn't take a look at the keywords or what kind of headline we should use. It was like focus on giving something valuable and something unique to our users. And after first 2, 3, 4 months, the results were very poor. Because it's not that easy to do something like this and not, use some hacks and tricks and techniques. But after half a year, maybe in the first year, we realized that Google and people organically are talking about our content, that we are, ranking higher and higher in search engines, and that people are sharing this content and they are, writing to us that it's really good and thank you. And so our growth hack is like to put the unique piece of content every Thursday, at least do it 1 year, even if you don't have like spectacular results. And after 1.5 years, everything started to grow faster. Then of course, now we take a look at SEO, we take a look at the keywords, we try to optimize and do all the stuff. But at the beginning, we decided to focus only on the content and on putting something, good on the blog. Because we had limited resources, it was very difficult to write and promote and do everything. And I think it is bad technique. We should promote it more. But it worked. It worked for us.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly followed the content. It's very well written. It's very polished and professional. But you don't spam it at all. I mean, meaning like you don't like over promote it, which is very good.
It's not that easy, but I think
it's very tempting to do that, right?
Yeah, it's Kathy's strategy. Because she used to be a gymnastic, and she's an ex sportswoman. So the same approach is when you prepare to win a competition. You have to do a lot of workouts regularly every day, and you don't see results week to week, sometimes quarter to quarter. And so I think that this mindset helped us a lot.
Great. And how do you see yourself expanding this now? Do you see yourself building a sales force, or do you want to still stay, digital marketing? I do see you doing some advertising now.
Yeah. We try to use the paid channels now because we know more about our best customers and who should we focus on. We have 4 people in our inbound sales team and 3 people in our outbound sales team. So we do cold emails. We help our trial users. We offer them demo or some help with onboarding. So we have inbound and outbound sales too. But the main, engine of our growth is a blog. It's a place where it starts now.
And on the advertising side, what have you found something that really works there, or are you still in the experimental stage?
We are in the experimental stage, but I think that we treat this as addition to what we do. we don't want to focus on this pay-per-click strategies, but we think that it might be very helpful, for example, to promote the content, because we can use Facebook ads or Google network to promote the content, and then some of the users will convert to our trial users and then premium users as well.
And over the last 2.5 years, what do you think your top 3 lessons have been?
Mm-hmm. The first one is that there are no shortcuts. I really love to read about new marketing techniques and everything we can do, but I still think that these old school principles are so important, and it's so easy to forget about them. This was very important for me. For example, at the beginning, I forced our people to talk to our customers, to get on Skype and talk to them, even without a plan, even without big structure. People usually they knew what they want to say to us, for example, as feedback to features or a bit about their business. So for me, the great lesson was that how conversations, and these people from support, from product team, from of course sales team and marketing team, they can have really enormous impact in, for example, building the knowledge of this ideal personas we are working with. People where it's not that often the designer is on the conversation with a user. People talk about doing this, but very, very often they don't do this at all, or maybe once a year. We have at least 50 conversations a month with our clients, and I think that it's maybe not very structured way to build the knowledge about our clients, but it works for us. So for me, it was really, a really big lesson, because in my previous companies, I've never done this way. I was thinking about this, but I never had time to do this in practice. So I think it was the second lesson. And the third one is that less is more. I wasn't sure before Woodpecker. I wasn't sure, but now I think that it was so difficult for me to convince the product team, for example, that we don't need these additional features. It was very time and energy consuming, and it was quite difficult sometimes to keep a team spirit. But now I see that it worked for us really well. I know that there are some different strategies, and this is not the only one, but it was really good for us.
Excellent. Hey, I really appreciate your time today. If people want to learn more about Woodpecker and your blog and you, where should they go? At blog.woodpecker.co. And there you can subscribe for our newsletter, where we send all the articles that are written, and you can find some more information about us and about sales and cold emails. Hey, Matt's a great guy, a great company to work with. It's been nothing but a pleasure working with them. I've been able to connect up several different email accounts to them, and the product has worked flawlessly for several years. So it's woodpecker.co. I'm a happy customer, so I'm sure if you need that type of email capability, and it integrates with pretty much everything, so it's super powerful, easy to use, and economical. So check it out, woodpecker.co. I want to give you an update on the course. People are having enormous success getting into big accounts without this, email pounding. Right? I show them how to use tools like Woodpecker to get into accounts in simple, easy steps, and without hounding people or pitching people. We have both the automation, but we got to remember that we're humans on the other end. And when you match up automation with intelligence and psychology and being able to give and have people move in baby steps towards talking to us, it actually works. So the course is all about how to do that. One of the steps is, of course, email is a powerful capability if used correctly. If used wrong, it's just a waste. And that's the sad part about it. But if you can do it smart, it's super effective. And I've had both marketing leaders and sales leaders taking the course, working with their teams, and really blowing up 2018. Look, we're halfway through. It's literally the middle of Q2 right now. The year's going to fly by before you know it. The summer, let's face it, hard to get much done in July and August. So you really have to get your team focused on, starting conversations and getting the meeting. Check it out at b2brevenue.com. There's a free ebook there. Just sign up. It'll send you a little link to the book. It won't send you the book. It'll send you a link to the book. The book is pretty big. It's like a 40-page real book. It's not just this, phony baloney marketing, lead magnet. It was a real book. I had it on Amazon for years. I took it down, I updated it, and I put it on the website and gave it away for free because it's more important to help the community, to get people thinking about how large companies make product selections than it is to try and make a couple of bucks on Amazon. That was a foolish waste of time. But people have really enjoyed it. And also the other courses on, how the complex sale really works. If you have a complex sale, meaning that there's multiple decision makers, multiple meetings, the old approach, it just doesn't work anymore. That's why I started that course. Check that out at b2brevenue.com as well. In there, under training, there's also a link. So you can get on my calendar for 15 minutes if you're serious, and I can answer any questions you have about it, understand what you're up against, and see if it's a match. If it is, great. If it isn't, totally understand. No pressure at all. But if you want to talk to somebody first, just to understand, what you'll get out of it, that's the best way to do it. You can look at the curriculum online there, and you can go to the Brutal Truth About Sales and Selling podcast. There's an episode with one of the students who's closing a multi-seven-figure deal after taking the course, who started in January, right? Getting into big accounts requires a talent and a skill that has changed. It's not the pitch anymore. It's about building a connection and a relationship, and I show you how to do that in a systematic way, not a charismatic way. Some of us have charisma. Some of us don't. Thanks for listening. Please tell somebody about the B2B Revenue Leadership Podcast and connect up with me on LinkedIn. And I'd really appreciate it if you shared my content if you see it on LinkedIn. Thank you.